My brother's fiancée tried ambushing my husband in a prank gone wrong. He instinctively defended himself. She got hurt and then accused him of physical harm. Hi everyone, I'm Eva, 25F, and my husband is Mark, 30M. Recently, my brother, Kevin, 32M, and his fiancée, Brooke, 31F, came to stay with us in our new house. This was their first time visiting overnight. To put things in context, Brooke is a major Halloween enthusiast and self-proclaimed Disney adult with a childlike streak that sometimes gets out of hand. I bring this up because I honestly think what happened was her taking things way too far. Caught up in her usual enthusiasm with all the fallout simply snowballing when she refused to see that. Brooke never liked my husband. Well, liked isn't exactly fair. She's always sort of obsessed over his dark aura and regularly compares him to brooding characters from the books she devours. She makes these comparisons as if they're compliments, at least that's what she claims, but honestly, I'm not so sure anymore. Her reasons are mostly surface. She talks about his lone tattoo across his hand and his quiet vibe. During their recent visit, Brooke started openly saying she'd love to see someone like Mark scared because she couldn't picture him losing his composure or screaming. This somehow turned, in her mind, into a goal to successfully spook him during their stay. Nobody else, certainly not my brother, knew this was on her agenda. The actual incident involved Brooke staging a jump scare in our garage. Mark came home from his evening run and stepped into the dark garage, unaware Brooke was waiting, fully dressed up in a mask and cloak. When she leapt at him, Mark didn't scream, but instead immediately, and quite naturally, shoved her against the wall to get her away, only realizing it was Brooke when he heard her muffled voice. She hit her head on the wall as she went down and was clearly shaken. Mark turned the lights on, pulled off her mask, and tried to apologize, telling me later he was completely disoriented by being attacked and had no idea it was just a prank. He helped her inside, made her tea, and called me, since I was out at dinner with Kevin. When I got home, I checked on Brooke and told her, honestly, that her prank was reckless and could have ended far worse. She didn't seem fazed by my reaction at first, but when Kevin got home, she broke down, crying that Mark had used excessive force, when he obviously should have known it was just a harmless joke. She said Mark intentionally assaulted her, which was a huge escalation and, in my eyes, completely unjustified. Mark straight up asked her, "Are you saying I assaulted you on purpose?" It took her a moment, but she doubled down and said yes. Mark's response was instantaneous. "If that's what you think, get out of my house." I tried to calm things, suggesting we take a break until everyone's emotions cooled down. But Mark was resolute. If Brooke truly believed what she was accusing, he wasn't comfortable having her under our roof. Regardless, Brooke stood by her claim, and my brother was fuming at me for not smoothing things over and for not convincing Mark to just apologize more so they could stay the night. Kevin said the whole fight was short-sighted and would have just blown over if I'd handled my husband better, especially with their wedding coming up, but I was frustrated. Why was it my job to convince Mark to play along with Brooke's fantasy when Kevin wasn't even trying to reason with her? Mark never raised his voice, but after being insulted with such a serious accusation, he had every right to set his boundaries. I chose my side. My own husband deserved my loyalty, especially when the prank was so reckless and now he was being falsely accused. For clarification, when I said I tried to smooth things over, I never doubted Mark or took Brooke's side. I only suggested we give everyone space so tempers could cool, mainly because Brooke was in hysterics. Mark stayed calm throughout, but I could tell how final his decision was. When Kevin kept pressing me to talk sense into Mark, I didn't, so they had to pack up and leave. On the costume, I mentioned in a comment that I wasn't sure at the time if Brooke bought the outfit for this purpose or used Kevin's costume from one of their adult Halloween parties. Turns out, it was part of Kevin's. A heavy gold mask, think elaborate masquerade, or those animal masks from Squid Game, and a long black hooded cloak. A lot of you have asked for updates, and I'll do my best. Please check my comments if you have specific questions, because I've tried to answer as many as I can. I'm planning to show Kevin this whole thread. Update 1. After the fight, I tried several times to talk with Kevin, but every conversation ended in deadlock because he wouldn't drop his demand that Mark and I apologize, starting, bizarrely, with me downplaying the whole event so Brooke could save face about her prank. I hesitated to send him this Reddit thread, worrying it might make things worse, but he just refused to see my side at all. Since I couldn't physically shake sense into him for asking me to just let a false assault accusation slide, I decided the next best thing was to let him read thousands of honest opinions. Following solid advice from this community, I decided to inform my parents before someone else spun the story. My dad, who's always been pragmatic and fair, immediately sided with Mark, pointing out how dangerous and foolish Brooke's prank actually was, and how serious the consequences of a fake assault accusation could be. My mom, who has always favored Kevin, first suggested we should at least hear Brooke out. That upset me, but wasn't surprising. Still, Dad pushed back against her, and she softened a bit, especially after I showed them footage from Kevin's Tesla. He tried to delete it, but didn't get far. The car's surveillance camera had picked up some of the aftermath in the garage, not the initial scare, but the critical moments after. The video made it obvious Mark did not use excessive force. He moved fast to restrain Brooke, but in a measured way, and backed off as soon as he realized something was off. I actually learned from you all that Brooke's dark book comparisons are apparently a romance subgenre, which was news to me, since I just remembered a lot of them involving dragons and never paid much attention to names or plots. Now, rethinking some of how she talks about Mark, it makes me wonder if her interest isn't entirely innocent. We have a group wedding chat with both our parents, Brooke's parents, Kevin, and me. I summarized the incident there, but didn't share the video itself, just said it existed. Her parents didn't comment in the chat, but I know they read it. Later, her mother called my mom, claiming they had no clue about the whole prank. I'm not sure if they really believe us or just want to stay out of it. Kevin and Brooke have both eventually apologized to Mark in separate texts and have asked us to attend the wedding. My parents, wanting to keep the peace, are encouraging us to go for the sake of family, and we've agreed, mostly out of obligation. Mark made clear that's the only reason we'll even attend. There won't be any future open doors to our home, not even for the holiday dinner we'd planned before this whole mess. Mark will keep future interaction with Brooke to a strict minimum. I know we'll never fully trust her again. Things with Kevin feel permanently strained, and honestly, this made me realize he started to slip away from me years before, long before any of this happened. A reporter even reached out for the story, and I want to share a message here too. Ambush-style pranks aren't harmless fun. They put everyone in danger, erode trust, and can leave deep rifts that never truly heal. If the prank involves making someone feel unsafe or threatened, it isn't a prank. These choices have consequences, and sometimes the damage is permanent. No joke is worth that risk. Edit. I appreciate all the questions and DMs, but please consider this my last direct update for now. If something changes dramatically, I'll update again, but it won't be soon. Update 2, final. I promised one more update, so here it is. Some of you suggested I read the types of books Brooke kept comparing Mark to, so for curiosity's sake, I tried. Honestly, I made it to the 3rd volume of a certain fae romance series. I skimmed more and more as I went, and only a little way into the 4th before giving up. I think Mark is supposed to be Rhysand. If so, I just don't see it. The characters grew more insufferable as the series progressed. If anything, one of the side characters seemed a bit more like Mark, but that's subjective. I also tried another, Is He Xaden, dragon fantasy, but again, the main guy is nothing like Mark. He's more similar to Liam based on personality. Not my kind of books, but at least now I understand what Brooke's been referencing all this time. Actual update, Kevin and Brooke got married. Brooke was pregnant, something my mom, always the watchful type, had started to suspect before the announcement, which came during the ceremony itself. Her pregnancy has mellowed my parents a bit, especially Mom, who's absorbed in becoming a grandmother. As for me, I still worry about Kevin, but don't feel particularly emotional about the situation anymore. It's his life, his choices. Mark insisted on accompanying me to the wedding. We all told him he could skip it, but he chose to support me. Nothing dramatic happened at the event. We kept to ourselves, which might be why we didn't see any fresh drama. If there was some, it passed us by. One thing came up though. An acquaintance who spends more time around Brooke shared something disturbing. Brooke once made highly inappropriate comments about Mark, saying he looks like a character from Lesham comics. The comments she made were gross. Stuff around how he looks like he could be the type to assault someone, based on those comics. These messages were allegedly in an old WhatsApp chat. The person telling me claims she switched phones since and doesn't have proof, but I don't have reason not to believe her. I decided not to confront Brooke about it. It's old news, and frankly not worth reopening the wound. So life continues. We remain no contact with Brooke, and that's how it's going to stay. That brings this story to a close. I see this as a stark illustration of how one reckless decision can damage relationships beyond repair, and how family loyalties are tested when trust is broken. Sometimes, even after apologies, some lines can't be uncrossed. What do you think? Do you think I was right to side with my husband and set such a firm boundary? Or could I have done anything differently to actually save my relationship with my brother? Let me know your thoughts below.